Before I proceed, allow me to thank the management of the Star TV for the opportunity it has continuously given us as teachers to continue teaching you, my precious learners at home, during this lockdown. Bravo to that management. Secondly, is a piece of advice to you, my precious viewer. COVID-19 is real. For your information, it has killed a lot of people. What do you need to do to remain safe? You need to observe the SOPs. When I talk about the SOPs, I mean the standard operating procedures. My precious viewer, wear your mask appropriately. Maintain the social distance recommended by the medical personnel and sanitize all the time. Since I'm alone in the studio, my precious viewer, allow me to take off my mask. As I've already told you, my precious viewer, that we are going to look at the use of necessary, needn't, and needn't have. At this time, allow me to first remind you something very small before we go into the lesson. I would like to remind you of the words we use to give pieces of advice and some words we use to give commands. At this time, let me begin with those words we use to give pieces of advice. One of them is the word should. We use this word should to give pieces of advice. Another word we use to give a piece of advice is ought to. We also use the word ought to give piece of advice or pieces of advice. Let me use these words in the sentence to give advice. The first sentence is going to be, you should wash your hands regularly. You should wash your hands regularly. I'm using this word should to give a piece of advice. Another sentence I can construct using the word ought, I can say that the pedestrians ought to cross the road at the zebra crossing. The pedestrians ought to cross the road at zebra crossing. At this time, my precious viewer, let me also remind you of those words we used to give command. One of them is the word must. The first one is the word must. Next one after that is the word have to. We also use this word have to give command or to command people to do something. Another one we use is the word had to. My precious viewer, before I use these words to command, allow me to first tell you something. When you look at this word must and have to, their past form is had to. At this time, allow me to use them in the sentence. Since I've already told you that they are used when you are giving command to other people. Let me first do it so that you really understand how they are used. The first one I'm going to say, you must wear your mask. I'm commanding this time. You must wear your mask. Another sentence I can construct can be, we have to sanitize all the time. We have to sanitize all the time. Another sentence I can construct be, they had to maintain the social distance while at the party. They had to maintain the social distance while at the party. You are such an amazing viewer. I believe at this time you can ably use these words. Should and ought, remember, for them they are used to give pieces of advice. Then the must, the have to, the had to, for them we use them when you're giving commands or when you're commanding some people to do something. My precious viewer, after reminding ourselves about these words, which are going to be very vital for us as we are learning how to use necessary, needn't, and needn't have, allow me to first give you the good news. And that good news is learning nowadays can take place at any time. What do you need to do to enjoy that kind of learning I'm talking about? You just need to go to your Google Play Store. You download the app known as the Prime Learn app. That app is known as Prime Learn. The app is Prime Learn. After downloading this app, my precious viewer, you can be able to learn lessons that have been organized from nursery to primary 7 in different subjects. Therefore, download the app today and you learn ahead of others. As I told you before, my precious viewer, that we are going to look at the use of necessary, needn't, and needn't have. We shall not look at them at the same time. Let's first begin with one at a time, and that is the use of necessary. We are going to begin by learning how to use this word necessary. First and foremost, you may ask yourself, what is this word all about? The word necessary is used to say that or to mean something. It means, let me write this as you write with me, my precious viewer. It means, this word necessary means something. It means something. Remember, something is one word as you write it. Something, all, somebody, all, somebody. I believe you are following. All, somebody that is needed. That is needed. I believe you are following. That is needed for a purpose. That is needed for a purpose, all a reason. That is needed for a purpose, all a reason. Therefore, whenever I talk about the word necessary, you should know that this is its meaning. Before we go ahead to use this word necessary, there is a lot you need to understand about it. This word necessary is used to express necessities and obligations. I repeat, the word necessary is used to express necessities and obligations. I believe at this time you are asking yourself, what is a necessity? The word necessity means the fact that something must happen or be done. I repeat, the word necessity means the fact that something must happen or be done. What about obligation? An obligation simply means the state of being forced to do something because it is your duty or because of the law. I repeat the meaning of the word obligation as I believe you are writing something down. It means the state of being forced to do something because it is your duty or because of the law. Now I believe you are asking yourself, is the word necessary the only word we use to express necessities and obligations? No, dear. We have other words still we use to express necessities and obligations. One of them, we have already looked at them in the introduction. Those are should. We can also use should to express necessities and obligations. We have this word ought to. We have the word must. We have the word had to, and many others. Also, these words are used to express necessities and the obligation. Secondly, you need to note clearly that necessary takes, I repeat, necessary takes, it takes, let me write it here, it takes, it is. It takes, it is, when used in the simple present. And it takes, the word necessary takes, it was. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. and the text it was when used in the past simple. I believe you are following me step by step, because all this explanation I'm giving is going to be very relevant for us as we use the word necessary. What else should you know about necessary before we rewrite sentences using this word? You need to note that as you are using this word necessary, it will take the preposition for. Secondly, as we are rewriting our sentences, we have to ensure that we change these pronouns in case we come across them as follows. Where we shall come across the pronoun he, as we write our sentence using necessary, this pronoun he will change to him. I believe you are taking some notes, because we shall need all this information as we write our sentence using necessary, or our sentences. Then she, as we write our sentence or in all sentences using necessary, she will change to her. Take note of that. Then they, if we come across it, it will change to them. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. Then we will have to change to us. Then in case we come across you, that one it will remain you, as we write our sentences using necessary. I believe with that detailed explanation, at this time we can ably rewrite some examples I've brought for you using necessary. And the first example, I believe you are writing there, the first example says, that hotelier, the first example says, that hotelier. I believe you are following. That hotelier should provide. That hotelier should provide sanitizer. To his customers. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. We are going to rewrite this sentence using necessary, but basically we're going to use it is necessary. Why are we using it is necessary? Not it was necessary. Our sentence we are looking at has been expressed in the present. And remember, necessary text, it is when used in the present or simple present tense. Then it takes it was when it is used in the simple past. I believe you've quoted that one properly. Come back to our example, which says that hotelier should provide sanitizer to his customers. These are many customers. We are going to write this sentence using it is necessary, and our answer will be it is necessary. It is necessary. I believe you are writing with me. It is necessary for, introduce this preposition for that hotelier. For that hotelier, it is necessary for that hotelier to provide sanitizer. To provide sanitizer to his customers. I believe you are following, and I know you are aware that your sentence must begin with a clear capital letter, and since it is an affirmative sentence, it must end with a clear full stop. I believe you are asking yourself why Teacher Betty has left out this word should. I've left it out. Why? It is also expressing necessity and obligation. Therefore, two words, necessary and should, expressing the same idea, can't be used in the same sentence. Let's look at the next example, my precious viewer, following me from Star TV. The next example says, she must clean. I believe you are following. She must clean her restaurant. She must clean her restaurant. She must clean her restaurant regularly. She must clean her restaurant regularly. I believe, my precious viewer, you can critically see what I have written on this board. She must clean her restaurant regularly. We are going to rewrite this sentence beginning with it is necessary. What should we do first? This time there are some changes we need to carry out before we write this sentence. As I told you before, we have a task of changing this pronoun she to her. That's where we began from. Then we have another task of eliminating this modal verb must as we write our sentence using necessary. And our answer will then be, it is necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary for her. Remember, you have changed this subjective pronoun she to her. Therefore, the answer is, it is necessary for her. I believe you're writing with me. It is necessary for her to clean her restaurant. To clean her restaurant. To clean her restaurant. I believe we are together. Regularly. Pay attention to this word regularly. At times, my dear children, you forget to put this L, but that's how it is written. It is necessary for her to clean her restaurant regularly. Let me give you one more example. The next example says, you ought to order food you have ever eaten. I believe you are writing, my precious viewer. You ought to order food you have ever eaten. You ought to order food you have ever eaten. My precious viewer, this is our example number 3. And says, you ought. You ought to order. You ought to order food. You ought to order food you have ever eaten. Yes, you ought to order food you have ever eaten. My precious viewer, we are going to rewrite this sentence using it is necessary. What are we going to do first? We have to eliminate ought to. I've already explained why we are eliminating these words here. We are eliminating them because they express the same idea, just like necessary. That's why we are eliminating them as we write our sentence using necessary. For you, we are going to maintain it. It will not change. It will remain you as we write our sentence. Secondly, there's another learning key point here, my precious viewer. I believe some of you might think I've made a mistake. This word order does not take any preposition. Yeah, you order food, you order drink, but you don't use any preposition there. Let's go on and we answer this example. We are going to say that it is necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary for you. Don't forget that this word necessary takes the preposition for. It is necessary for you to order food. To order food. I believe you are following. It is necessary for you to order food you have ever eaten. You have ever eaten. It is necessary for you to order food you have ever eaten. Endeavor to begin your sentence with a clear capital letter, and if it is an affirmative sentence like this one I have written, end it with a full stop. I believe you are wondering, my precious viewer, whether we only use this word necessary to rewrite sentences and we can't use it to speak to our friends. My dear, we can. For example, I can say, it is necessary for children to respect their parents. It is necessary for children to respect their parents. Another sentence I can construct can be, it is necessary for her to wash utensils after eating. It is necessary for her to wash utensils after eating. And very many other sentences I believe you can also construct from where you are. You are such an amazing viewer because I believe you have now understood the concept of using necessary in the simple present tense. At this time, allow me to take you to another structure, and that structure is the use of needn't. Would you like to learn how to use needn't? Sit upright from where you are, hold your pen and a book, pay attention to the teacher, and we learn together. We are going to look at the use of needn't. I believe you've already written that. The use of needn't. Yeah, write it there. In case you have your book, you have your pen, please write that word. The use of needn't. I'm going to put these ellipses, meaning that we are going to use it within the sentence. Needn't and ellipses. However, before we look at that, allow me to first speak to the teachers watching me and the parents out there. My dear teachers and parents watching me at this time, you can make some money while sitting at home. How is this possible? As the pupils are using the Prime Learn to learn, for you can use it to make some money. Go to the Google Play Store, download the app known as the Prime Learn app. Register as an affiliate. When you register as an affiliate, you are given a coupon. Please share that coupon with your friends, with the children you teach, in case you're a teacher. The more they use your coupon, the more discount you get. Yeah, that's the good advice I would give you, my teacher watching me there and a parent. Back to our lesson, my precious viewer. I've already told you that we are going to look at needn't. What do I mean when I talk about needn't? First and foremost, you need to first understand that needn't is the short form. It is the short form of the words need not. That's a fact you should have at your fingertips. The short form of need not is the one I've used as needn't. What else do you need to understand about this? Needn't is used to say that something is not necessary. I repeat, needn't is used to mean that something is not necessary. Secondly, note this clearly, this needn't is written immediately after the doer of an action in the sentence. And the last thing, it is followed by the verb in its infinitive or in its base form or in its original form, meaning that the verb written after this word needn't must be in infinitive. I believe you have got all those key learning principles. Let's now look what the examples are brought for you so that you can clearly understand how to use needn't. I've just said that needn't is used to say that something is not necessary. The first example is already here. That example says, it is not necessary. It is not necessary. It is not necessary. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. It's not necessary for the waitress. It is not necessary for the waitress to disrespect the diners. It is not necessary for the waitress to disrespect the diners. My precious viewer, before we write this sentence using needn't, as I've already told you, needn't means it is not necessary. Therefore, automatically, we have to eliminate these words. It is not necessary, and for, as we write the sentence using needn't. Secondly, we have a task of identifying the doer in this sentence, and that doer is none other than the waitress. The waitress is the doer of this action in the sentence. As I've just told you, this needn't is written immediately after the doer. Therefore, we are going to say that the waitress, I believe you're following me, the waitress, I believe you're following, my precious viewer, the waitress needn't disrespect. Needn't disrespect the diners. This statement means that it was not necessary for the waitress to disrespect the diners. I believe we are moving together step by step. Let's look at the next example. The next example says, it is not necessary. Next example number 2, It is not necessary. I believe we are moving together, my precious viewer. It is not necessary for them. It is not necessary for them to. It is not necessary for them to tear the menu. Last time I told you about the menu as that list that shows the food available at a particular restaurant or a hotel. Here comes our sentence which says, it is not necessary for them to tear the menu. We are going to rewrite this sentence using needn't. Remember, we are going to follow the same procedures we have followed while answering the first example. First and foremost, it is automatic that we have to eliminate it is not necessary and for. Why are we eliminating all those words? It is because needn't means it is not what? Necessary. Therefore, we cannot repeat ourselves as we write our sentence. Secondly, let's first identify the doer of an action in our sentence. This time we have this them. We cannot use that pronoun to begin a sentence. We have to change it to a subjective pronoun known as they. Yes, we change it to they. Thereafter, we can answer our question, and our answer will be they needn't. They needn't. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. Needn't, remember, is the short form of need not. Don't forget that. They needn't tear. They needn't tear the menu. They didn't tear the menu. What does it mean? It was not necessary for them to tear the menu. Let's go on with the next example, my precious viewer. Thank you so much for following me from where we started up to where we are. I believe you are gaining a lot. The next example says, you should not tell lies. The next example, that's example number 3. It says, you should not. You should not tell lies. Yes, I believe we are now wondering, teacher has been using it is necessary. Here she comes using the word should not. My dear, see when I say you should not tell lies, I mean it is not necessary for you to tell lies. Therefore, we are going to write this sentence using needn't. This time, we have a simple task. The task is just eliminating should not, and we replace it with needn't. And our answer will be, I know you have already whispered it from where you are. The answer is, let me see whether you have the same answer like mine. You needn't tell. You needn't tell lies. You needn't tell lies. Let's go on with our last example about using needn't. That example says, you oughtn't. You oughtn't. This time let me use another pronoun, he. He oughtn't. He oughtn't. I believe you are wondering why I'm using oughtn't. Oughtn't is the short form of the words ought not. I repeat, oughtn't is the short form of the words ought not. Therefore, he oughtn't to speak. He oughtn't to speak lewdly. He oughtn't to speak lewdly to others. He oughtn't to speak lewdly to others. If I'm told to use necessary here, I can say it is not necessary for him to speak lewdly to others. But this time, I've been told to use needn't to rewrite the sentence. What am I going to do? What I'm going to do, my precious viewer, is to ensure that I eliminate ought not plus its preposition to. Then I replace them with the needn't. Then our answer will be, he needn't. He needn't. He needn't speak. He needn't speak. I believe you are following, my precious viewer. He needn't speak lewdly. He needn't speak lewdly to others. He needn't speak lewdly to others. As I have been emphasizing, my precious viewer, don't forget to begin your sentence with a clear capital letter. And if it is an affirmative sentence like this one, a full stop is a must. With those examples, let's also use this needn't to construct our own sentences. You are free to use these structures at home as you speak to others. For example, for me, I can say, you needn't speak while eating. You needn't speak while eating. Another sentence I can give you can be, she needn't abuse her siblings. She needn't abuse her siblings. That one means that it's not necessary for her to abuse her siblings. Then another example I can still give you is, they needn't leave the restaurant before paying their bills. They needn't leave the restaurant before paying their bills. You are such an amazing viewer. I believe you can also add on some more examples from where you are. Please construct some sentences and tell those people with whom you are watching. Let's go on, my precious viewer. Remember, I told you that in this lesson, we are going to look what necessary, which you have already completed, and we are going to look what needn't, and I believe you've understood it. At this time, allow me to take you to another structure known as needn't have. I believe you are ready for it. Let's now look what needn't have. Needn't have. I believe you are wondering what's so special about needn't have. You are about to understand what is special about needn't have. Yes, we are going to look at our structure known as needn't have. Yes, pay maximum attention so that you don't confuse this one with the one we have just looked at. The one we have just looked at has been needn't without the word have. Before we go any further, I would like to remind you that you can still enjoy such English lessons and very many other lessons once you download the app known as Prime Learn app. That app has got a variety of videos that have been shot by different teachers. Please, if you want to learn any subject at any time, feel free to download the app and you learn ahead of others. Back to our lesson, we are looking at needn't have. You are now wondering what's all about needn't have. When I talk about needn't have, I use it to say that something was not necessary. I use needn't have to say something was not necessary. Let me write that. It is used. It is used to say that, I believe you are following my precious viewer. It is used to say that something, was not necessary. Needn't means something was not. Needn't have is used to say that something was not necessary. What is the key word here? The key word is here. Something was not necessary. Yeah, this needn't have is used in the simple past tense. It is used in the simple past tense. Before we go ahead to talk about needn't, there is something I would like you to know before we go any further. I would like you to first understand properly the meaning of the words, it was not necessary. It was not necessary. Since I'm going to be using them as we are writing sentences using needn't have, it's important for you to first understand what do I mean when I talk about it was not necessary. These words, it was not necessary, are used to say that someone didn't have to do something, but he or she did it. I repeat, whenever someone uses these words, it was not necessary, means that someone didn't have to do something, but he or she did it. I believe you've got that one. Let me give you one example and we'll write it using it was not necessary so that you can clearly understand what I mean when I use these words. That first example says, you didn't have to accuse. You didn't have to accuse your friend. Your friend, I believe you're following, your friend falsely. Yeah, I know we are supposed to be looking at needn't have, but there's a need for us to first understand these words. It was not necessary. Once I use these words, I mean that somebody didn't have to do something, but he or she did it. Let's go ahead and we first try out this example before we proceed. You didn't have to accuse your friend falsely. We are going to first rewrite this sentence using it was not necessary. What should we do? We have to eliminate did not have to. Then we shall say that it was not necessary. It was not necessary. It was not necessary for you to accuse. For you to accuse your friend. For you to accuse your friend falsely. Yes, it was not necessary for you to accuse your friend falsely. Remember, I've just told you that these words, it was not necessary. I used to say that someone didn't have to do something, but he or she did it. I believe with this example, you have now understood the meaning of these words. It was not necessary. At this time, allow me to take you back to our structure. I would like you to learn at this time. And that structure is needn't have. Yes. Before I explained what the meaning of the words, it was not necessary, I just told you that it is used to say that something was not necessary. What else do you need to note about this structure? I have already told you that it is used in the simple past. What else do you need to know? You need to know that as we are using this structure, the verb that is written immediately after that structure must be in the past participle form. It must be in the past participle form. Yes, let me remind you how some verbs change in the past participle form. For example, as you are writing your sentence and you come across the verb drink. Yes, you come across the verb drink. I expect you to change it to drunk. But take a note of the spelling. The past participle form of the verb drink is drunk, D-R-U-N-K. Another example I would like to give is the verb eat. Yes, as you are writing your sentence using needn't have, and you come across this verb eat, please change it to its past participle form, which is eating. Another verb I can remind you of is the verb draw. As you are writing your sentence using needn't have, it, draw will change to drawing. And very many other verbs as you learnt them in the previous classes. At this time, allow me to give you some examples and we'll write them using needn't have. I believe you are following me step by step so that when time comes and I give you an activity, you will be able to excel. Let's go on. The first example, I believe you are writing there. You can say that it was not necessary. The example says, example number 1, it was not necessary. It was not necessary for the hotelier. For the hotelier, it was not necessary for the hotelier to increase the price of coffee. It was not necessary for the hotelier to increase the price of coffee. We are going to rewrite this sentence using needn't have. Like needn't, also needn't have is written immediately after the doer of the action in the sentence. Therefore, our task number 1 is to identify the doer. And that doer of the action is the hotelier. Secondly, we have a task of identifying the verb given to us in this sentence so that we change it to its past participle form. The verb given to us is increase. And what is the past participle form of the verb increase? You've whispered it right. It is increased, increased, increased. Therefore, having made all those changes, I believe at this time we can rewrite our sentence using needn't have. And our answer will be the hotelier. The hotelier, I believe you are following me step by step. The hotelier needn't have increased the price of coffee. The hotelier needn't have increased the price of coffee. What does it mean? It was not necessary for the hotelier to increase the price of coffee, but he or she did it. Let's go on with the next example, my precious viewer. The next example is here. It says, it was not necessary. It was not necessary. I believe you are following and you are writing. It was not necessary for you to drink. It was not necessary for you to drink the baby's milk. It was not necessary for you to drink the baby's milk. Take note of the apostrophe where it has been pressed. It was not necessary for you to drink the baby's milk. It was not necessary for you to drink the baby's milk. As we have just done in the previous examples, we have to ensure that we first identify the doer of an action in this sentence, and that doer is you. Then the next one, we identify the verb given to us. And remember, as we use needn't have, that verb has to be changed to its past participle form. Therefore, this verb drink should be changed to drunk. But take a note of the spelling. Yes, I'm using drunk with letter U. Take a note of that. Having made all those changes, I believe we can now write a very correct sentence. And it will be, you needn't have drunk with letter, you pay attention to that. You needn't have drunk the baby's milk. The baby's milk. Take a note of the apostrophe. Baby's milk. Don't forget to end your sentence with a full stop because it is an affirmative sentence and must begin with a clear capital letter. I believe you are following. The next example, still I would like to give you that example says, it was not necessary for the customer. I believe you are writing, it was not necessary for the customer. It was not necessary. Let me write it here. Question number 3, it was not necessary. It was not necessary for the customer. Yes, I believe you are following. It was not necessary for the customer to steal the fork after eating. It was not necessary for the customer to steal the fork after eating. My precious viewer, for us to be able to write this sentence using needn't have, we have to follow the following principles, all the procedures we've been following. First and foremost, first identify the doer of an action, and that doer is none other than the customer. Secondly, identify the verb given to you. Remember I told you that needn't have is followed by the verb in the past participle form. Therefore, the verb given to us is still. And what is the past participle form of this verb still? It is stolen. It is stolen. Therefore, what are we going to do? We are going to write our sentence beginning with the subject. And our answer will be the customer needn't have stolen. The customer needn't have stolen the fork. Yes, the fork after eating. Yes, it was not necessary really for that customer to steal the fork after eating. You are such an amazing viewer. I believe you've already learned how to use it, needn't have. However, let me add you one more example. And that example says, it was not necessary for him. It was not necessary I believe you are following. It was not necessary for him to eat the visitors' food. It was not necessary for him to eat the visitors' food. Yes, the food belonged to the visitor. Therefore, it was not necessary for him to eat the visitors' food. What are we going to do? We are going to first identify the doer of an action in our sentence, and that is him. Remember that pronoun him cannot be used to begin a sentence. Therefore, we have to change it to a subjective pronoun, which is he. Secondly, we have to identify the verb given to us, and that verb is none other than eat. Then we change that verb to its past participle form. And what is the past participle form of that verb? You've guessed right. It is eating. Now, my precious viewer, at this level, we can rewrite our sentence using needn't have. And our answer will be, he needn't. I believe you're writing with me. He needn't have eaten. He needn't have eaten the visitors' food. He needn't have eaten the visitors' food. Don't forget a full stop, my precious viewer. He needn't have eaten the visitors' food. You are such an amazing viewer. And I believe you are now wondering whether we cannot use this structure to construct our own sentences. My precious viewer, we can. For example, I can say, you needn't have torn my diary. You needn't have torn my diary. Another sentence I can give you is, my sister needn't have backed at me. My sister needn't have backed at me. Another sentence I can give you is, they needn't have broken the window panes. They needn't have broken the window panes. In that sentence, there is a new word, I believe, to some of you, which is window. Which is window panes. You're wondering what window panes are. For you people who are having houses that are having windows that are made of glasses, those glasses you see, each simple glass you see there is a window pane. Now for me, I'm referring to many which are window panes. Pay attention to the spelling of the panes I'm talking about. You are such an amazing viewer. I believe at this time when I give you an activity, you can ably pass it. Therefore, ask daddy, mommy, or any relative next to you there to assist you with their phones so that you can speak to me as you answer the questions I'm going to write on this board. Get ready as I write those questions. I advise you can try them out in your book first. Yes, you can try them in your book first. Then you call when you're ready, knowing what you are going to give me. And as usual, the instructions I'm going to give you are rewrite. They say rewrite the following sentences. Rewrite the following sentences. Rewrite the following sentences. I believe you are following as instructed. Rewrite the following sentences as instructed in the brackets. Rewrite the following sentences as instructed in the brackets. The first question, number 1, says, yes, you can try them in your book before you talk to me. It says, all hotels should observe SOPs. All hotels should observe SOPs. I believe when I talk about the SOPs, you understand the standard operating procedures. As you answer this question, I request you to rewrite it and you begin with, it is necessary. It is necessary. It is the instruction I've given you. Then the next question says, question number 2 says, it is not necessary. It is not necessary. It is not necessary. It is not necessary for him for him to quarrel. For him to quarrel at the waiter. Yes, it is not necessary for him to quarrel at the waiter. What are we going to do here? Here I'm going to request you to rewrite your sentence using needn't. Therefore, as you call, know that you're going to use needn't there. Another question I would like to give you, question number 3. It says, they needn't have stolen. They needn't have stolen the old man's cock. The old man's cock. They needn't have stolen the old man's cock. As you write this sentence, my precious viewer, I request you to rewrite it, and you begin by saying, the instructions are telling you to begin with, it was not necessary. It was not necessary. As you call, you will answer that question in that manner. Question number 4 says, it was not necessary. It was not necessary. It was not necessary for Jessica. It was not necessary for Jessica to break the plate. It was not necessary for Jessica to break the plate. Yes, it was not necessary for Jessica to break the plate. What are you going to do, my precious viewer? As you call, I expect you to answer this question using needn't have. Using needn't have. Then the 5th question will come later. My precious viewer, these are the questions you have to answer. The instructions are very clear. They say, rewrite the following sentences as instructed in the brackets. And the first exam question says, all hotels, anybody calling? Hello? Hello, my precious viewer. Please go ahead. Hello, your name and from where are you calling? I'm listening to you, my dear. Please keep on trying. Don't give up. You will definitely get me. Yes?
Hello?
Hello, dear. Your name? Your name?
Hello?
Yes, please. I can hear you.
I want to answer number 1.
But before you answer, my precious viewer, your name first. Asingwile? Okay. Go ahead and answer question number 1, my dear. Here it is. I'm listening. Yes?
It is necessary.
Yes?
It is necessary for the hotel.
I beg your pardon. The words. Thank you. But first pay attention. It is all hotels should observe SOPs. Can you give me your answer again? Oh.
It is necessary for the hotel to observe the SOP.
Do you mind when you use the word all? It is necessary for all. Then I get you from there.
It is necessary for all hotels to observe the SOP.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Tell somebody who has given you that phone that Teacher Betty is so happy with my answer. Thank you so much for the answer you've given. It is very correct. Any other caller?
Hello?
Hello, dear. Yes, please, dear. Speak to me.
Hello?
Yes, please. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, please. Hello. Your name?
My name is Ian.
Ian, go ahead and answer any question you are comfortable with. Yes, Ian?
I'm answering number 2.
You are answering question number 2. Please go ahead and answer. I'm listening, Ian.
He needed quarrel at the waiter.
Come again, Ian.
He needed quarrel at the waiter.
Thank you so much. Your answer, Ian, is very correct. Let me even clap you. Thank you, Ian. That's the correct answer. And thank you so much for watching Tusome program. Oh, another caller. I'm waiting for you people to answer all these questions. For those who didn't hear Ian's answer, he said he needn't quarrel at the waiter. Any other caller?
Hello.
Yes, please, dear. Your name? Your name, dear caller?
Hello.
Yes, please, dear. Speak to me.
My name is Needn'T Hannah.
Najinda Hannah?
My name is Needn'T Hannah.
Hannah, yes, please. Go ahead and answer any question you feel like answering.
I'm answering number 3.
You are answering question number 3. Please go ahead.
It was not necessary for them to.
Go ahead.
It was not necessary for them to steal the old man's cock.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. That answer is very correct. It was not necessary for them to steal the old man's cock. I was waiting for Najinda to see how she's going to change the word stolen. She changed it very well. She changed it from stolen to steal as she was using necessary. Any other caller? I'm waiting. Please call. Yes, please. Speak to me. Yes, anyone? All right. Continue trying. You'll definitely get me. Another question that has not been answered is question number 4. That question number 4 says, let me leave you with question number 5 also here. I believe you can answer it during your free time. You've been an amazing viewer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching Tusome program. I'm so grateful with you. For those who have called, I'm very much pleased. Thank you so much. We are always here from Monday to Thursday. Therefore, use this opportunity to learn with us. I remain Teacher Nakafero Betty, who has been teaching you English language. Don't forget to contact me in case you need something to know about PrimeLearn, all English language as well. My contact is, or you can contact me on 0758 44 54 99. Yes, feel free to call me in case you want to know anything about PrimeLearn and English language. Yes, I say bye-bye.